Guys, we need to have a conversation because so many of you have been reaching out to us, asking us about leaving the United States, saying things like, I should leave the United States. It is just getting too crazy here. It is too expensive. It is too dangerous. All of these things that they are bringing up. You see, Christina and I have lived abroad for more than 10 years. We have lived in Spain, in Japan, in Thailand, and now we live here in Portugal. And when we first moved abroad, the questions we would get from our friends and family were always the same. Why would you ever want to leave the US? The US is one of the greatest countries in the world. Aren't you scared to live abroad? But as the years have gone on and people see how we have lived in all of these other countries, how the quality of life that we live has been amazing, how we walk around with such peace of mind, the questions have changed significantly. Now people are saying to us, I wish I could do what you guys are doing. I wish I could just pick up and move to Japan or move to Portugal or move to Spain. I wish I could do those things. But my question to them is, why can't you? Why does this have to be some extravagant thing, some grandiose wish? Why can't you do that? And so on this video, what I want to talk about are 5 signs, red flags, of why you should leave America. Now, if you guys are new to our YouTube channel, you know that I usually have my beautiful wife sitting right next to me. But on this video, I'm gonna take this one on by myself. Christina is actually out with the girls, and I just had to get this off my chest. And so in today's video, I wanna talk about maybe some of the reasons why you should consider leaving the United States and moving abroad. And don't misconstrue this video as me not liking America. I love America. I am an American. I have friends and family in America, but I am also frustrated like many Americans. And so I am making this video to give you some food for thought and maybe helping you make a decision that could be life-changing, a decision that could help improve your life. And so without further ado, let's get into some of the red flags that may be reasons for you to leave America. The first red flag is that you feel unsafe in the United States. Now, you may feel unsafe in a particular neighborhood, in a city, or in a state. And so maybe you could just move from that particular area. But if you live in the United States and you don't feel safe at all, anywhere in the country, that is one reason why you maybe should consider leaving the United States. So one of the countries that we lived in was Japan, and we lived there for almost 8 years, and it had to be one of the safest countries we have ever lived in. We could go anywhere in Japan with absolute peace of mind when it came to safety. In fact, Japan is one of the few countries that you can go to and you will see little kids as young as 3 years old, 4 years old, walking to school by themselves. That's how safe it is. So if safety is something that is very important to you and you don't feel safe anywhere in the United States, then this could be a reason to leave the United States. So this brings me to reason number 2, or I like to say red flag number 2. You cannot survive financially in the United States. Now, what has happened in the United States over the past 2 years with inflation has been out of control. But the United States has always been a very expensive place to live and to survive and have a good quality of life. But if you are finding it harder and harder to survive in the US financially, then this may be a red flag of reasons why you should leave. And I'll give you an example of the type of person that may find it virtually impossible to survive financially in the United States. And it is a person that is living off of Social Security. If you are a retiree and you are only receiving the average Social Security check of $1,500 a month, how can you survive financially in the United States? In some places in the United States, $1,500 a month can't even pay your rent. So if you are finding it hard to survive financially in the United States, that means you don't have enough money maybe for food, for clothing, for rent, for healthcare, all of these things that are integral to living a life of quality. Now, if you've been following our channel, you know that our family of four lives here in Portugal for less than $2,000 a month. In fact, there have been some months where we've only spent $1,000. Now, we know people personally that live here on less than $1,000 a month, that have wonderful homes, that have a high quality of life, that have the freedom in their budget to do things, to entertain themselves, to travel, to eat good. All of these things that would be too expensive to do in a place like the United States, someone is able to do them here in Portugal. But that's also the case in places like when we lived in Japan, when we lived in Thailand, when we lived in Spain. It was the same situation. The cost of living in those other countries was far more reasonable than what it was in the United States. And therefore, a person's quality of life was much more better. They had money to be able to do things, to enjoy life. The next red flag is the healthcare in the United States is not meeting your needs. Now, it is well known that the United States has some of the best healthcare in the world. They have state-of-the-art technology, but it's also well known that not everyone has access to that healthcare. In fact, healthcare in the United States, as far as cost, is some of the most expensive in the world. And so if you cannot afford to pay for your medications, to pay for your doctor's visits, if you go to the emergency room, it might bankrupt you. If healthcare is so inaccessible in the United States that it is not meeting your healthcare needs, this is definitely a red flag to leave the United States. And I really want to emphasize this, because there are so many amazing places around the world where you can get amazing healthcare at a reasonable cost. Living here in Portugal, that's a prime example of amazing healthcare that is affordable and in some cases even free. Now, our family of four, we have full healthcare coverage, and for that coverage, we pay about $1,600 a year for our entire family of four. And in some cases, our family has also been able to use the universal health care here to be able to get health care for free because we are residents of Portugal. Now, there are multiple countries throughout the world where this is a benefit to its residents. And so if healthcare is very important to you, I encourage you to go out and research other countries that may have healthcare that can meet your needs. The next red flag is you should leave the United States if you are bored. Now, I kind of laugh about this, but this is actually one of the reasons why we left the United States. You see, when Christina and I first left the US in 2005, 2006, we moved to Spain. And we did that purely because we were seeking adventure. We wanted to try something completely new. Now, at the time, we were living in San Diego, and San Diego is a fun and exciting place, but there was something missing. We wanted to take on this international expedition and see the rest of the world. And so when we moved to Spain, not only did we see Spain, but we got a chance to see the rest of Europe. And just living in a foreign country, living in Spain at the time, every day was an adventure. Learning the language, meeting new people, just generally getting around, that was an adventure within itself. You see, whenever you move to a foreign country, the excitement and the newness of that foreign country, that in itself makes life so exciting. And even here for us right now in Portugal, we have lived here for almost 3 years, and every day is still an exciting day for us. There are so many new things that we are exploring. Every weekend, we're going to a different place. And so if you are finding life in the United States is not meeting your excitement threshold, then this could be a reason to move from the United States. And so this brings me to the final reason why you should leave the United States. And it is your friends and family want to see you happy. Now, it may be a dream of yours to one day live abroad, to live in Spain, Portugal, Africa, wherever the case may be. And you've been telling your friends and family about this dream for so long, but they have not seen you go after that dream. If your friends and family really want to see you happy, they will encourage you to leave to pursue your dreams. And so I bring this up because for a lot of you, this is the reason why you stay put. You're staying put so that you can be closer to friends and family because you feel like you can't leave them, like you'll lose a connection with them. Now, I can completely understand this concern, but I can also tell you that there is another side to this situation. You see, when I moved abroad, I found that I actually got to spend more quality time with my friends and family. Because when they would come to visit us, they would stay with us for 2 weeks to a month. And over that period, our time spent together was purely with one another. We would be seeing the country with them. We would be exploring all of these different places. And every single night we were spending with them because we were hosting them on this great adventure of being abroad. Now, we have done this so many times with friends and family that after a while, our friends and family eventually joined us in the countries that we lived in. If you know my story, you know that my father came to visit us in Japan and ended up staying, and he is there till this day. My father has lived in Japan for over 15 years, and he is living his best life. But it's not only been my father. It has been so many other family and friends that have chose to also move abroad because they saw us do the exact same thing. Now, in regard to staying connected with friends and family back home in the United States, because of technology, it makes it so much easier to do that. But I will also say that when you go to a new country, you will make new friends and maybe even new family members. It is one of the things about settling into a country that is just amazing. For us, when we moved here to Portugal, we knew absolutely no one in Portugal. Now we have countless number of friends that we can spend time with. So those are the 5 reasons why you should consider leaving the United States. The US is an amazing place. I was born and raised there, and I have so many fond memories of living in the United States. But one of the things that I have been so grateful for was that I was able to leave the United States and gain perspective on the rest of the world. And it was something that I realized the first time I left the United States when I was in college and realized that the world is so big, that people live in so many different ways, and that the way people were living in the United States was not the only way. And so at 19 and 20 years old, my perspective changed forever. And so I am a huge proponent of people getting out of their comfort zones, maybe leaving the United States and seeing what the rest of the world has to offer. Because the worst case scenario is that you end up going back home to the United States, but you go back home with more appreciation for your home country. And so I hope this video has given you food for thought. And so as usual, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and join the journey.